Well, hey there. Good morning, Brickheads. Happy Wednesday to you. You did it. You're halfway through. What do you say we help you get through the rest of this week by talking some Lego today? It is a wild card Wednesday, and I'm really excited for this episode because it is all about Bricklink Designer Series 9. Okay, so here's the deal. Before I get into it, I do just want to say thank you. Whether you are tuning in on your favorite podcast platform, or maybe you're a visual person, no matter how you get this episode, I really greatly appreciate it. I want to give a shout out real quick to up there in Canada. Got a lot of listeners tuning in lately from there. Super appreciate you. Devoted fans down in Australia, as always, greatly appreciated. And in Ireland, coming in strong. Always appreciate that as well. People all over the world. I just think that's really cool. And then here in the States, we've got some listeners in Minnesota. You got your mainstays, always Ohio, holding strong as always in California, but Florida coming back strong, right here in Texas doing their thing. And then you got some listeners up there in Colorado. So wonderful Rocky Mountain High. Gotta love it. But again, no matter where you're listening in, no matter how you're listening in, thank you. All right, well, with that, let's talk Lego Designer Series program. Okay, it is pound for pound, again, one of my favorite things to talk about, that and Lego ideas. And it's because it's generated by users like you or me, just an AFOL out there living their best life, designing their dream set and submitting it to Lego with the hope, the dream that it could become an official Lego set one day. And it's such a super cool thing to think about. And not only that, I mean, they get residuals for it too. If your set becomes an official Bricklink Designer set, you get 5% of the proceeds. So, it is a limited number of sets, definitely more limited than what you would see with Lego Ideas, but still a higher percentage on return. So either or, it's just really cool. And we are now into Series 9, okay? And it opened up, let's see here, I believe it was October 6th, Monday, October 6th. And the crowd support for this is going through the 17th. So you got a few days left. It's not much time left. So what I really want to do today is I'm going to give you what I believe are the top 5 finalists, because this is how it works. When you go to the Bricklink site, you can log in. Once you got your accounts tied to Lego, kind of cumbersome, but once you're logged in, you can vote on all of these sets. And there are actually 436 different designs to choose from. It is the most out of any series. But you go through and you look at all these pictures of these amazing sets, and you can vote basically based on 3 smiley faces. You have a not for me, a like it, and a love it with the big old hearts in the eyes. And based on all of these votes tabulated, there are 5 finalists. Now, there is no necessarily a rhyme or reason to what gets selected, but I will say in previous series, the trend has always been that there is 1 small set, 2 medium sets, and then 2 large sets. And to break that down further, a small set to me is anything that is less than 1,500 pieces, or at this point, almost less than 2,000 pieces. A medium set can be anywhere between 1,500 and 3,000 pieces, which is crazy to think that you could have a set just under 3,000 pieces, and that's medium. But then you have large sets. And the large sets can range from anywhere between 3,000 and 4,000 pieces. So, yeah, it's not a have to. It's not a for certain. It doesn't say that in the rules that you are in categories, but that's typically how it falls. And so that's how I'm doing my vote today. And what I will tell you is this. This was by far the hardest vote that I have ever done for a Bricklink Designer Series. And what I mean is, in previous series, there was honestly, what I believe, a wider gap between a mediocre set and a phenomenal set, making it a lot easier for the phenomenal sets to really stick out and get voted on, right? But here we are into Series 9, and a lot of these sets have been refined over and over again. This is not, for many of these sets, Series 9 is not the first series they've been in. A lot of these sets have done in Series 8, Series 7, and they've gone back and they've revised it and they've improved it and they've just made it so much better. And so the gap between what is decent and what is amazing has really closed up. And that kind of makes it hard on you and me to decide what is good, because there is so much good in this series, y'all. It is so good. So what I did and what I like to do is I go through, just give it a first once over, right? And I decide what are all the sets that I love. And what I found is, of the 436 sets, and I really tried to look with a critical, like, really critical eye of, do I think this set is incredible? Do I think it's worth being turned into an official Lego set? And of those 436 sets, 67 of them I absolutely loved. And another couple hundred of them I liked a lot, which is really incredible if you think about it. And so I actually had to narrow down 67 sets to what I consider the real contenders, what I think has a chance to become an official Lego set. And there are some quirks with some sets that I just kind of think don't make it feasible. And so some of those you kind of leave out. And I'm ranking in categories too. So when I look at it, I'm looking at small sets and I'm kind of keeping them separate versus the medium sets or the large sets. And so when I finally got down to it, there were still 24 incredible sets that I had to choose from. And it was really, really hard. This was something, honestly, that I walked away from multiple times. Like, I have been looking at Series 9 now for over a week, around a week, right? And I have just gone back and forth and looked at all 436 multiple times, looked at those 67 multiple times, actually wrote down things that I liked about each, or things that I was like, oh, maybe this could be it. And honest to goodness, I actually have switched my runners up and my winners multiple times. So it's been a process. So what I will say is this: if I did not choose your set, let's say you're a designer and you're listening in right now going, ooh, I wonder if he picked my set. There are so many incredible sets that I was like, yeah, this could win, and I won't be surprised if it does win, but it didn't even make my runner up. So it's not that it's bad. I'm just going to tell you right now. Again, 67 sets. They're good, but I had to narrow it down, and this is really hard. So I tell you, try it yourself. If you think it's easier, try it yourself. Leave me comments down below. You let me know, what are your top 5? And so here we go. As I said, I'm doing it in 3 main categories. I'm doing small, medium, and large. That's how I'm breaking it down. So I'm going to give you 1 small set, 2 medium sets, and 2 large sets. I am, however, also going to give you runner-ups, because I think that's cool to give an honorable mention, if you will. So I'm going to give you 1 honorable mention for the small sets. I am going to give you 2 honorable mentions for the mediums and 2 honorable mentions for the large sets. So here we go. Without any further ado, your Series 9 finalists, in my humble opinion. In the small category, our runner-up is the Sakura Cafe by Bob Sconce. Guys, the Sakura Cafe by Bob Sconce, Bobson CS, I don't know, however you say his designer name. It's 577 pieces, and it is this cute little coffee shop in the shape of a mug, and it's got this nice little, it almost looks like one of those little cherry blossom trees that's sitting over it. And on the top of the shop, it's got the little wavy brown lines that come up like the coffee is steaming. And it's just cute. It's just a fun little set that I liked the vibe of it. And at 577 pieces, I think this designer did a lot with a few amount of pieces. And honestly, if you think about it, in many ways, the small category is one of the hardest because it's really easy. Well, it's not really easy, but I think honestly it is easier to make an impressive set with 4,000 pieces. You have a lot more to work with. But to really make a set stand out and use under 600 pieces, that's really saying something. So our runner-up is Sakura Cafe. Congratulations, sir. All right, but with that, the winner of the small category, I went different this time, but this one just really, really spoke to me, and that is The Anatomy of the Human Heart by Martin Studio 98. You gotta look at this set. It is 592 pieces, and it's an anatomical heart. And I know that kind of sounds maybe a little macabre, a little weird, but I love the science sets. The microscope always really stands out to me. But this Anatomy of the Human Heart, it's unlike anything else that was submitted. And that also is saying something. When you get 436 sets, guys, there's 130 castles/medieval sets in these submissions. That's incredible. There are like 59 space sets. There's like 27 different pirate sets. There's only one anatomically correct heart. And not only that, it's not just that it's unique, it's really cool looking. So you get this heart, and then you get a whole diagram next to it where you get like the 2D version that shows the heart itself, a cross section of the heart where you can actually see the different chambers and all the way up to the aorta coming over the heart. And it's classy and it's cool, and it's just weird enough where I think it could have a chance to win. Now, could the violin or the clock or Sakura Cafe beat it? Sure, absolutely. But pound for pound, flesh for flesh, if you will, I just really like it. I just think it's a cool looking set and very creative, very clever. And again, in under 600 pieces, not only was Martin Studio 98 able to design an anatomically correct looking heart, but also to give you that whole cross section. It's just, to me, looks like a complete set. So there you go. There's my first winner in the small category. We're moving on. And it only gets harder. Let me emphasize that, because there are more sets in the medium category and a lot more sets in the large category than there is in the small. So here we go. The medium category. I'm going to give you two runners up, and then I'm going to give you my two winners. First off, runner up number one. That is, with 2,281 pieces, The Haunted Cemetery by Arachino. I don't know if I said that correctly, Arachino, but I do love your Haunted Seminary. Seminary? Just kidding. Oh my goodness. Cemetery. I hope we don't have a haunted seminary. That would be weird. But this Haunted Cemetery, it just looks really cool. I am a sucker for the spooky Halloween type sets, and I think it was Adventures in Transylvania that really kind of like shouted out to me, and I think a lot in the AFOL community, that these more like I say, macabre, like dark, spooky type sets are really popular. And this is a couple of mausoleums and a cemetery complete with gravestones. And you've got a really cool looking tree behind these mausoleums. It's just done really well. And again, at 2,281 pieces, a very complete looking set, and something that would honestly look really good if you already, say, had the haunted house or you had Adventures in Transylvania or something else like that. So I think we're due for some more spooky sets. So if that won, I would certainly be happy. All right, after that, our next runner up, and this one, oh, guys, this was right on the verge of winning for me in the medium category, and I don't know if maybe it's because I know all of the lore behind it. I know all the details and all the Easter eggs behind it, because this is the set I would say out of the 436, because I didn't design any. But out of 436 designs, this set I know the absolute best. So it really does honestly have a special place in my heart. I don't know if that like taints my choice, but take it for what it is. This set is at 2,174 pieces, the Azure Islands by Nowicki 10. Eric, you have a phenomenal set. Pound for pound, I think this is the strongest set that I've ever seen you submit, and I just really love it. If this set won, I would be over the moon. If you like pirate sets, if you like that homage back to the 1980s style of builds complete with catamarans and life rafts and this whole island of mystery that has like Easter eggs all over it. There's skulls and faces on all of these little sides of the mountains. You've got these skeletons. You've got a full little enclosure where the king lives on the island, if you will. And just the lore behind it is really, really cool. So if you don't know about this set or this designer, longtime listeners will know I actually interviewed this designer. So full disclosure, again, I am not related to. He is. I like don't endorse him, or he doesn't endorse me, or anything like that. But he is a designer that I have met and I have learned about through this Bricklink Designer Program, and he just works really hard and does these incredible designs. And so I had the opportunity to interview him. And if you want to see that interview or learn more about the Azure Islands, you can actually click on that set and it will take you down there. So I'm not trying to make a plug. It's honestly a fantastic set. So whether I had interviewed Eric or not, this set just really speaks to me. And I will tell you on a personal note, Eric, if you're listening, your pictures, what you ended up going with, I think were absolutely fabulous and the right choice. So really close to being one of my winners, for sure. I did have two, though, that in the medium category, they barely beat out the Haunted Cemetery and Azure Islands because they were so unique and things that I hadn't really seen before and things that we haven't really gotten in the Bricklink set before. And that is my first winner is the Steampunk Airship by A2N2. 2,513 pieces. This Steampunk Airship, I believe this is one that we've had submitted before. But looking at it, it is the strongest steampunk set that I have seen in a long time. And I always think it's interesting. We've just not gotten a lot of steampunk stuff. And I think we're kind of due for it. And this one's just really good. Your sky ships. And in fact, there was another sky ship in the medium category that if that one wins, that would be cool too. But this is a really fun, it's whimsical. The colors are good. You have it, it's like the clouds become the platform that it's sitting on, so it's clever design. The whole like blimp portion, the color is really good. And I just think A2N2, I think you did an incredible job, and I would not be surprised if this set won at all. So there you go, Steampunk Airship by A2N2. Moving on, our last winner in the medium category, and again, this is sets that are pretty much between 2,000 and 3,000 pieces. And our final set, it is a weird one, but this was one of those that I kept going back to it because it just kept catching my eye, and I loved how unique and original it was. And that is the Bat Lord's Castle by Truman Brick. The Bat Lord's Castle, y'all, it is 2,500 38 pieces, and it is, how to explain it? It's a giant crescent moon, bold, beautiful crescent moon in a unique shape with a castle built on the crescent moon and a dragon that is attacking this castle. I guess you could say it's a dragon. He's attacking it or protecting it. I'm not really sure the lore behind it. And I say castle, it's almost more like a keep, if you will, but the colors on it are great. There's multiple levels and tiers on it. There are like almost like tree parts coming off of it, and it's all on this self-contained stand of clouds. But it's, to me, this set wins because of how they incorporated that crescent moon around it. It kind of reminds me of like The Nightmare Before Christmas. And again, I've told you guys, that whole spooky vibe, it just is really working for me. And so I really gravitated towards it. I vacillated a lot between Batlord's Castle and Azure Islands. And like I say, it won for me by the slimmest of margins, but it really is a good quality set. And like I say, if any of these sets win and are your 5 finalists, I would not be surprised. All very strong. All right, and then moving on from there, here we go. We did it. The payoff, right? The big sets. And there are so many big sets. Like we're talking 3,000 to 4,000 pieces. And many of these sets, honestly, go right up to the 4,000 piece limit that the Bricklink Designer Series has set. And there are just, if you like castles, this is your category, because there were so many absolutely incredible castles, like really incredible castles, right? It's just a whole nother level of absurdity. I have not seen this many strong castles in a long time, or things that have been built into rocks, like the Christamon set. That one was really good. There's so many that I can't even think of all of them right now, but this was one that I went back and forth on. I actually had picked a winner, felt good about it, went back and looked again, and then changed my mind like 2 separate times. It was a little absurd, honestly. And, but yeah, at the end of the day, this is what I'm going to go with. If any of these win, or if, gosh, any of the castles that I don't mention win, I would not be surprised, because they're just really, really good. And so hype up, here you go. I'm going to start with my first runner-up, and a designer that I really, really like. So I like certain styles. Like Brickhammer always puts out good stuff. If you're tuning in on YouTube, you can see I have the Mountain Windmill next to me. I'm always a huge fan of the Hanwha's designs. His stuff is really great. Obviously, I love Nowicki's stuff. I think that looks fantastic. But there are TLG, great designer, but there are certain designers that just make you go, oh, I just really like their vibe. I like what they put out. And I will tell you, one of those designers that I absolutely love is Mocker Mommy. Mocker Mommy, if you ever tune in or you ever want to, interview or go over your process, I would love to have you on this podcast, because your stuff I absolutely dig. It is fantastic. And your set, it was right there back and forth between winner and runner-up. But I went ahead and did the runner-up for this time. And that's your set, the Emerald Abyss, the Prison Castle. It is 4,000 pieces on the dot. And it's wild. It is a cool set. And one of the reasons I think I like Mocker Mommy's designs is her use of color. The Scarlet Bastion is another one that she has done with the reds in there, but the Emerald Abyss, obviously Emerald, there's so many plays on the greens, and the mix of colors that she does, but it's just this like island, castle, prison setup, and it's got a lot going on. It's super busy. but in a really good way, not in like a frenetic sort of way. It just works for me. It was something that I immediately gravitated to, but again, I tend to immediately gravitate to a lot of her designs. So there you go. That's my first runner-up in the large category. But moving on from there, the final runner-up, and another one that I actually had as a winner and then moved it to runner-up. So I kept going back and forth. But at 3,468 pieces, it's the Haunted Mansion by Castor Troy. Again, did I mention I really like the spooky themes lately and how they just kind of work? Well, we've got a Haunted Mansion here. And honestly, the only Haunted Mansion that really was on this list, if I remember correctly, I think there was a like a Professor's Lair type thing that was also spooky. But this Haunted Mansion is really good. It's just really good. It unfolds in the back so you can get all your interiors. And a lot of these sets have really learned that you need to make it modular style, but that they can open and close. They've really done a good job of refining that. And this Haunted Mansion, again, I think it stuck out because it wasn't a regular castle. That and the Victorian house, your eye immediately gravitates towards it. And then you're like, okay, well, now let's look at the interiors and check everything out. And I really like it. I love the color scheme. I love the way that the roof line works on it. And I think Castor Troy just did a really good job incorporating all of those little spooky notes that you would expect in a haunted mansion. So really good set. Definitely, if either of those sets end up winning, again, I would not be surprised. But here you go. Last two sets. Hang in there with me. We are almost done. My final two that I settled on. The first winner in the large category at 3,990 pieces, 10 short of the max. Watchers of the Midnight Sea by Pepe Frost. Watchers of the Midnight Sea, how to explain it? It's got such a unique vibe. It's almost like an underwater scene that has burst out from the ocean, right? And you've got this castle vibe, but also like the spooky vibe that incorporates these like rounded line. I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to give you good descriptors for it, but I don't feel like I'm doing it justice. It has this incredible, almost looks like an eye of Sauron at the top of it. And it incorporates all the things I like about medieval sets and all the things I like about the underwater sets, and it kind of smashes them together. So it is a really cool set, and I encourage you to go check it out. Again, it's Watchers of the Midnight Sea by Pepe Frost. Just a really strong, solid set. So, and there you go. All right, I got one left. One left. Who's it's going to be? And I'm going to tell you, it's a castle. It's a castle. And it should be, because, again, so many good ones. But this castle is unique. This castle was not like the other castles that I saw. It very much felt like a Knight Templar meets Vikings meets medieval. And it threw it all together in 4,000 incredible pieces. And that is the Temple of Grail by Open Seas. Y'all, the Temple of Grail is a really cool set because it gives you that Lion Knight's Castle vibe where you've got these surrounding turrets and the big, huge castle guard areas. But inside of it has that huge grand home that you'd think of when you think of, like, if you went to a Viking village and you saw that grand, I can't call it a castle. I don't know what the main Viking house would be called, but their main area that everybody would go in and gather, that sanctuary area, it has that set within it. And it looks really cool. It is obviously modular where you can take it apart and you can have different configurations with it. And I was just really impressed at how versatile the look would change on how you wanted to build it. So you put it together, and then you could have it in two really separate displays. And it almost felt like two really cool sets coming together to make one really incredible set. There are some trees on it. Obviously, you got some minifigs in there. And just overall, the color scheme, the roof, the variation in the roof color against that dark bluish gray and the regular gray, I just think all works together. And it comes together in a really incredible set. And if they vote this one, like I say, you're going to get a heck of a lot of minifigs that go with it. And everybody loves medieval style minifigs. Those are the ones that sell. You know, the what's that? The den that's going out right now with pre-orders for Series 6. It's the number one seller. You know it is. And so this is another example of that. And I think the designer Open Seas just did a really good job with it, for sure. So, as I said, it is really hard to narrow it down to 5. You kind of just, your heart kind of goes out to the Bricklink Designer people going, ooh, man, should we do this? Should we do this? And I know there's different factors that go into it. And like I said, it's funny because these large castles, for me, did not compete against the anatomy of the human heart because I very much kept them in separate categories. So you could very easily say 5 castles and make that your final list. But I wanted to very much make it in line with what Bricklink Designer Series does. And it has that small, has that medium, has that large. And so it's really like they're competing in 3 separate categories, and those categories don't overlap. So that is how I did it. You set it up your own way. But whether you're doing it or not, you owe it to yourself to go to the Bricklink site, go on there and take a look at it, because you only have, again, till October 17th. So you only got a couple more days. You're running out of time. And I want to say it is at October 17th at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, so get in there, give the votes. Once voting closes, it goes through a review session, and then we will get the 5 winners announced on November 19th. So right before Thanksgiving, it will be fun. It's always cool to see, were you right? Were you wrong? Did you see some that you're just like, oh, I didn't even know that set existed, but how cool is that? Or is it a set that you go, really? That's the choice we made. Okay, we'll have to see. But, like I said, I don't think there's a wrong answer here. And my hope is that all of these designers get their due, because everybody, there's 400 plus designs here. They've worked really hard. They have spent their blood, sweat, and tears doing the design of their dreams. So the least you could do as a listener, as a viewer of this podcast, go there, check it out. It's just so cool. And it's just so inspiring to see that level of talent. And if you are a designer and you want to come on the show, reach out to me. Let me know. I mean, you can hit me up. My email is set in the YouTube page itself, but you can also just leave a comment on this video or wherever. Let me know how I can reach you, and then we can get together and, like I say, interview you, go over your design process, because I would love to give you your due. So, but with that, I really appreciate you coming along with this one. Really appreciate you going out and supporting those incredible designers, and we will find out come November who are our top 5, right? All right, with that, I'll catch you later. See you on Monday for some incredible new news and rumors. And until then, I just hope you have a great rest of your week, y'all. Bye-bye. How it's supposed to feel.